Hello and welcome to Texas Cooking Today. I wanted to do a video on comments, all right, and so here it is. Before we get into that though, I would like to say, please do me a favor. At some point during this video, take a look in the description box below. You'll find a link to my website, and that's where I sell products for Texas Cooking Today. All of the Texas Cooking Today merch is there, as well as my recipes. Those are in PDF format, and they are really very well produced. Okay, so take a look. You're going to like what you find there. There's other links down there to all of my social media, as well as to the rest of Texas Cooking Today, with lots of great recipes. So let's get into this. Got a lot of comments to go through. This is just responses to some of the comments that are made in my comment section. And I can do it a lot faster this way. I also thought it would just kind of be neat for y'all as well if I did videos like this from time to time, maybe. So let me know in the comments if you like this or not. If you do, then we'll keep it up and maybe do some more. So first off, I wanted to just go through the comments that I have and kind of read them off. I'll tell you the first name or whatever of the person's that posted. I'll tell you the video they posted it to, and then we'll get on with a little better understanding here. So what I've got is a couple of neat posts. First of all, the last one I've just received was for my baked fennel recipe, and that's like a forever old recipe. It's one of the very first ones I put up, in fact I think first season. But the thing of it is baked fennel, regardless of when I posted that, that's a delicious dish. It gets so sweet. The vegetable is very unique tasting, and it's the kind of thing where you just have to try it once. You're going to love it or you're not, and that's that. But anyway, on that recipe, he says, Miguel says, great recipe. Thank you very much, Miguel. Appreciate that. And I'll do my best to turn out another one pretty soon on fennel. It's a really good vegetable. It needs a little more attention. Let's see here. And there's some nice praise here. I appreciate that on my fajitas recipe just recently. There was a gentleman that gave some very nice comments there. I appreciate you doing that. First letter V, do appreciate that. On another video though, it's all about chilies, what you need to know. And so this is a video I did that's about dried chilies and about fresh chilies, what their names are, and how sometimes when a chili goes from being fresh to dried, it changes names. And also gave the heat profiles and other things. So in that video, it was just about talking about chilies. And let's see, Vincent asked, how do you keep them from rotting while air drying? Now, let me make sure that you understand, first of all, we're talking about taking a chili and air drying it, just letting it slowly change. It'll change color and slowly dry over time. Not about dehydrating. Two different things. Dehydrating just captures the flavor of the chili at the moment, and the drying process, the chili changes and ripens, and so it becomes a different thing. Anyway, so you'll know, Vincent, how do you keep them from rotting? It's very simple. You turn them daily, okay? I recommend putting the chilies up on a cooling rack or, some sort of a pan rack so they're not flat on a surface. And then the next thing is turn them every single day. Some people actually turn them twice a day. It's up to you, but make sure you do them at least once every 24 hours. Now, the best way is what you've seen in other cultures. For instance, if you go to Mexico, in the shops there, you're going to see strands of string with chilies hanging off of it. So what they do is they just simply string the thread through the chili stem and hang it. And that's one of the best ways, okay, because that way it's not in contact with anything, and they do dry well that way. But otherwise, I would just say lay them out, turn them frequently, and keep a close eye on them. Because sometimes even when you're trying to do the right thing, every once in a while you get one that just goes bad. Okay? All right, let's see what we got next here. Vincent also said, Thank you for posting habaneros. Now I have a reference video for those who don't know the difference between them, such as Scotch bonnet and Trinidad scorpion peppers, and Poblanos and Anaheims and so forth and so on. I appreciate you saying that, Vincent, and do please pass on that video. It's a real good one. There's a lot of information. By the way, so you'll know, there is a newer video on those chilies. Take a look and see if you like that one a little bit better, because I did do 2 of those, and I think the better video was actually the second production. But the funny thing is the first video gets most of the traffic. I don't know why. Let's see here. Okay, so James says on my most recent video, which was the Poblano burger, James says, I never thought about putting Poblanos on a burger. I was thinking it would be even better mixing it in with some ground beef. You know what, James, you're absolutely right. You could mix it in with the ground beef, and honestly, some of the things that I had thought about doing for that burger, I was actually thinking about making like a Poblano sauce, like maybe scorching off the skin on on a Poblano, and then putting it in a blender with maybe some cream and blending those two together, maybe sour cream, putting it in the fridge afterwards, and to allow it to set up, allow it to be kind of firm. So I was thinking of something kind of like that. So maybe you could tinker around with that and come up with something. All right, give it a shot. It never hurts to try. Look, I do it all the time. I do recipe development. Now lately I've been working on a fry bread recipe, okay? But I wanted something to be really, really cool. Anyway, I've tried one recipe, and while it gave me a good puff, if I rolled it right, it just wasn't the right flavor. So I'm still working on it. Sometimes you do something and while it isn't necessarily what you're trying to achieve, you learn from it so that the next time you try it, maybe you do it a little different and you get the results you're looking for. So that's what I'll do, is I'll just remake that recipe in a different way to improve it. So try that on your Poblano burger. I appreciate your writing. That's really cool. Thank you. That's really cool. The same video, Benito says, I'm hungry again. LOL. Sorry about it, dude. By the way, he wrote that in right after lunch. I'd posted that thing, I don't think it was like about 1:15 or 1:20, just right after lunch. So it must have just really worked a few people's nerves. Let's see here. Let's see. Hello says, no, let's see here. It is Chop Chop says to me on my fried rice and stir fry recipe. Now that is episode 744. So it's recent, all right? Now he says, awesome cooking and easy recipe to follow. Thank you for sharing. Superb, delicious too. Cheers. Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate you trying the recipe and writing in to, well, at least let others know about it. Sometimes you don't know about a recipe until someone recommends it, basically, and it really helps. So having some of my viewers write in and express their experience with my recipes has been very helpful with me growing as a chef, as well as producing better videos for y'all, okay? So the feedback I get really makes a difference. It's huge. I do read these things, and I know what goes on in my comments. I respond to a lot of it. So you're going to see a lot of answers in those comments, as well as people just saying really cool things. Let's see here. All right. Now, I did mac and cheese recently. It was episode 7-738, and it was a creamy mac and cheese recipe, and I explained how there's two basic ways to pull off a really good mac and cheese. One that gives stability for, like, if you're doing food service and you want mac and cheese to sit on a steam line, a steam table line, and it's going to be out there for, let's say, 30 or 45 minutes as you're serving. Well, you know, you want that to remain stable and creamy and just the way you made it on that line. So there's one way of doing that, and then there's another way of doing it that gives you a little faster, easier way for at home, and it's the best tasting mac you'll ever put in your mouth. But anyway, Bill says, I like that you didn't bake it. I've never understood that logic. Baking dries it out. Bill, frankly, it's the reason I've never done a baked macaroni and cheese recipe. I've never figured out a way to make a macaroni and cheese recipe so that when you pulled it out of the oven, it was as creamy as what you would make in a pot. What I produce in a pot and serve up is just, it's creamy and just smooth and soft, and the mouthfeel is incredible. But when it's baked, and every baked mac and cheese I've ever tasted had the same problem, the mac seemed too soft. It seemed kind of, like you said, dried out. You don't chase the cheese well enough, and it's basically an unpleasant experience. So I've never done baked, and I probably never will unless I can figure out a way to get that macaroni stable for baking, you know, without too many chemicals. Stouffer's does it, and they're frozen macaroni and cheese. You can stick that sucker in a microwave oven or a regular oven, bake it up, and the stuff comes out perfect. But they use a lot of emulsifiers and other agents to make it just right, okay? If I was playing the same game, like as a food chemist, well, maybe then I would turn out something like that, but I'm not interested in that. I just want to give good recipes for the public and to teach great technique so that, well, so that the people that watch my videos can produce food that's better than what they get at the restaurants. It's really cool when you get good enough that it's hard to find restaurants better than your cooking, because then you know you're really hitting it out of the park. Let's see what else we got here. Bill also looked at my fajitas and said, wow. I don't blame you, Bill. That's a good recipe. My fajita recipe is just, it's incredible. Flavors. Again, it's hard for me to have fajitas out because I make fajitas the way I do. So you'll have to just take a look at that and see. Let's see here. Now, my fried rice and stir fry recipe again had another gentleman named James. James, hello. It says, looks good. You should totally add water chestnuts. Perfect in a stir fry. You know, James, you're absolutely right. It's very likely I might have done something like that if I'd had the water chestnuts. What I'm trying to do on those easy weeknight meals is just grab whatever's in my pantry at the moment, jerk out some stuff, and throw a meal together for y'all. And just to show that, hey, yeah, this is what you can do if you're at home without having to kill yourself to make something fresh. All right, so easy weeknight meals are the same kind of stuff I would do after work. And that was when I was working as an engineer. And so I was putting in 8 hours a day in housing. And folks, it's, you know, you go home after that, you feel beat down. You don't feel like doing a lot of work in the kitchen. So I created meals that I didn't have to feel overworked after work. And that's what I wanted to share with you. Now, J, and it's just 2 letters there. So I'm just going to use the first letter. J commented on my Texas red chili recipe. By the way, that's the tutorial he watched. The tutorials are pretty long on those older videos, so there's always the recipe videos, shorter, but they're very loaded with information. I'll just say that. Jay says, FYI, you can dump everything together at the beginning and it makes no difference whatsoever. Now what he's talking about is the way I make my chili. When I make chili, I start by searing the meat, and then part of the way into that searing process I just throw in the onions and let the onion kind of sweat out and sweat its juices into the meat, and then I'll throw in the peppers and add that, and then once they have kind of rendered down just a little bit, I'll start adding in everything else, like the tomatoes and the broth and all of the rest of the ingredients. So what he's saying is you just throw it all in there at once and it's the same flavor. Well, you know something? If I'm getting searing on my meat at the beginning, and then that searing washes out into the chili and flavors the chili, then no, it's not the same. You're missing part of your flavor profile there. Okay, so don't do that to yourself. And if you don't believe me, and I'm sure you've already tried just throwing it all together and making chili, and it probably came out pretty good. But if you try my method and get that searing first, start with a real hot pot, you're going to find out that that makes a richer flavor, a more, how would I say it, a more beefy steak-like flavor. You know the flavor you get when you get that steak off of the grill and you get that char flavor with it? Oh, it's real good. And that's added to that chili. So you're missing out on that when you don't do it. Yeah, you can just throw it all in a pot, but hey, you say it makes no difference? Yeah, it does make a difference. There's a difference in the flavor. Thank you very much for writing in, and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you doing that. Let's see, what do we got here? I like this. One of my viewers watched my chicken fried steak Southern style recipe. Now that was a long time ago I produced that. That was season 1, episode 173. So like 7 years ago. She watched that video and said, and this is, by the way, this is Dizzy that said this. So hi Dizzy, thank you for watching my videos and thank you very much for commenting. You've commented on a lot and I appreciate that. So you said you didn't use cornstarch. I'll be sure to try this. I know what you're talking about because I just recently did a chicken sandwich that used cornstarch for batter. And I was doing that for a couple of reasons. A, just to make something real super easy on a weeknight. Easy weeknight meal, you know. And then also to have something that people that are looking for like gluten-free and that kind of thing, they would have something really cool to look towards because they could use a gluten-free bun with that chicken. And I'll tell you what, you've got a great gluten-free sandwich right there. So it's just that simple. It's all in the way I like to just do my videos. So anyway, thank you very much, Dizzy. I appreciate you writing in. And thank you for trying that chicken fried steak. You're going to love that. When you've battered one up like that and fried it the right way. Oh, man. You know, it gets, folks, if you don't know, if you've never had chicken fried steak or you don't know what that is, a long time ago, the Germans came up with this idea of schnitzel. And that's where they would take a meat cutlet and bread it and fry it. And sometimes put a sauce with it, like gravy. But that's schnitzel, all right? That's what it is. And so I do a pork sandwich that's schnitzel. And also chicken fried steak, when you get down to it, that's beef schnitzel. And then we in the United States take and put a seasoned bechamel sauce, which is cream gravy. What's what we call it. We put that over the top of it. And you end up with an absolutely delicious treat. We call it chicken fried steak. Yeah, don't get into the name thing, all right? It's just weird. Okay, so trying to see the name. Kagi, thank you very much. You wrote in on my chicken sandwich, the one I was just talking about, folks. That was episode 743. You said, wow, love this chicken fried, or this fried chicken sandwich recipe. Looks delicious and satisfying. Great video. Keep up the excellent work, and you better believe I will. There's a lot more recipes coming, and I'm planning something cool. I'm getting ready to do a series on sauces. You know, let's face it, sauces, they coat our foods, and they make them special in wonderful ways. But being able to crank out your own sauces, that's even better. So we're going to be doing some sauces. All right, let's look here. I love this. I've had so many people say this. It's unbelievable. And it must be in my mannerisms, my cadence. and the way I speak on camera. But let's see, it was the mobile, and I can't say the last part because, you know, they don't want us giving out the whole name. So hello, the mobile. On my Mexican food video, and that was episode 742. You wrote, "Love this. You're like the Bob Ross of cooking videos. Great info and great voice too. By the way, we have the same set of Cuisinart pans. Love them big time." They're pretty nice pans. A little bit soft on the edges. Be careful not to drop them or they dent. However, they cook very well. And what I like about stainless, hey, you can be really tough on stainless. You can scrub it hard, you can work it hard, and 15 years later, you still got great stainless. So that's what I think is neat about it. And it holds heat really well, cooks very, very evenly. And the whole Bob Ross thing, ladies and gentlemen, I have heard that, oh, I would say easily a couple 100 times now. So there's definitely something to it, and I don't, at first I didn't know what to think about it. I understand, yeah, it's a compliment. It's kind of a weird compliment, but it's a compliment. So I'm the Bob Ross of cooking, I guess. And oh, there we are. Oh, back again. No, hey, the camera quit running. I hate it when that happens. You're in the middle of a sentence and then just, there it goes. And when you're on this side of the camera, depending on the camera you're using, you can't tell what's going on the other side of the camera. So it's not as easy as it seems. But anyway, I do want to say, I do appreciate the Bob Ross comment from the mobile. And thank you very, very much for saying that. That was on my episode 742, my Mexican food easy weeknight meals. And that was a really cool video and a really cool thing for you to say. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Right there, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching, folks. This has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing this, and I would like to do it again. If you enjoyed this, please comment below. Let me know if you like it or not. If so, add some suggestions in those comments. And also, if you would, a thumbs up if you enjoyed it is really appreciated. And it does help me out in the rankings. So do the comments. Also, if you would, please subscribe if you haven't done that. Make sure you click the bell icon so you get notified when I post videos. Oh, you also have to make sure that your notifications are turned on in your settings. I know there's a lot to do when it comes to YouTube, but once you get it all set up right, it works well. Anyway, please do that. Take a look at the description box. Right there, you're going to see a link to my website. That's S.A.Trotter.com. That's where the recipes that I make are sold, okay? And we're not talking ordinary recipes. Let me pull this out. Hey, when I produce a recipe, get this up here. I produce a really, really good recipe. It's not just a single page, and it's laid out really super well. It's laid out with a lot of pictures and a lot of good information. So when you get one of those, you're not getting something junky. You're getting something quality. So please take a look at that. Thank you very much, and enjoy the good food. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.